Greetings, family, friends, and survivors. Well, we had this silver Madrone die out, and we've got quite a few problem trees that are just old Madrones get big and they start to die off. The biggest Madrone I've seen is about 8 feet in diameter, and obviously several hundred years old, but this had a limb here that grew out here, at least 12 inches, 14 inches in diameter, that died, so we cut it off, and then it had died all the way back into the stump, and we cut it off years ago, but the stump is rotting. This one's not really much good for burl, but that one's got a burl under it, and this burl's pretty valuable. The most I ever got was about $1 a pound. Got a, I can't remember what it was, 1,200 pound burl that we took in. Took several days to dig it out, and it was 3 times the size. But this one doesn't have any good burl wood. It's got several very deep rotted spots, and it's very heavy. And of course it wants to fall right into that one. This one is a nice saw log someday, if we get it before the rot starts climbing. And that's pretty close to 3 feet. It's all of 3 feet that way. Very heavy, but I think she's healthy enough she'll be here a long time. This one is able to fall clear now, but we'll let it grow. You can see there's a spot there where it's starting to die off, and that whole upper section is going to die and then eventually be a real problem. You know, there's multiplied tons above my head when that comes down. Widowmakers. This is out here in the turnout for the horse. So that one needed to go. So we had one bonus wood, but I wasn't concerned about it because you could see the big knot there in the bottom. That tree never was going to be anything. This one would have been, but the big Madrone was forked around this, and then the Madrone was rubbing on this tree. You can see up there at the top, all 3/4 of the way up, you see that spot where it's tried to wear all the way through, and then this tree's been trying to correct, growing this way, hunting for crown, and finally established a crown above these big Madrones, and would be healthy and continue to grow, but eventually bugs are going to get in that bad spot right there. So this one needs to come down too, but not this year. But eventually that top will break out. Maybe the snow load this winter and the top will break right out and it'll come right down on the power line that runs our gate. So we're just kind of cleaning up what we have to. This is good burnable wood, the best in the Pacific Northwest, silver Madrone. And they're big enough that I can't pick, well, I can pick them up, but then I may not walk for a week or two. And I'm kind of at that place right now where just walking on the ground is really iffy. But I grabbed the tractor and skidded this one out, lifted it up over the hot wire, and you could see the reason for the boom on the splitters to get these big rounds up. You can imagine some of those other rounds on that other tree, they're going to be, you know, this high and green, and I'm just not going to pick them up. And oh, it's not worth it. It is so not worth it. So we'll play around a little bit with this, and this will probably finish off this year's harvest for wood. And then we just sit back and let everything dry until November. And then it's all got to get picked up and stacked. And believe it or not, of all of it, the hardest part is picking it up off the ground. Who'd have thought that would happen? But I have lots of grandkids, and my son said that they were going to come up and finish the retaining wall behind my dad's house that holds our spring bank back. It needs to be repaired. All the timbers are sitting there, and it just doesn't make sense for Dad and I to try to manage those timbers with him taking care of Mom and my back being iffy. We'll just let the boys do it. What would take us a month to do, they'll do in an afternoon. Right, Gibbs? So you could see around here the fence is down, and where's the horse? Well, I've been waiting about a month to tell you. Arizona has passed on, and she was 28, and my wife has had 62 horses, if you wanted to know. She hasn't been without a horse in 47 years. So this is brand new for her. It was brand new just having 4 horses, and then brand new having 2, and then brand new having just 1 horse, and then no horse. So I'm letting Carol figure out whether Arizona's going to be her last horse. If she needs to be her last horse, I'll support that. If Carol needs 4 or 5 more horses, I will do my best to support that. We do have the arena, and when Carol rides, if she's not trail riding, if she's doing any work with the horses, she does it in the arena with her helmet on. So Arizona, what happened? She's been colicky for many, many years, and when we got her, she had just survived a cougar attack, and she was 4 years old, coming out of a stall with her foal, and for whatever reason the cougar jumped on her and just tore her hindquarters up on both sides. Giant paw scratch marks down both cheeks that were there for many years. You could see through the hair that the scars were very, very deep. So she's always been skittish when a cougar's around. Bears don't bother her a bit. But we could always tell when the cougar's around because she'll motocross in her pen. She'll just pace back and forth all night long. So actually, I've got a video somewhere if you want to look for it. I've got a video of a cougar right down there in the lower meadow looking at Zoni, standing right here looking at the cougar. So it's a real issue. And so that it stressed her out. This particular time, she's had some issues with her lungs, and my wife really could be a large animal vet as much as she knows and the experience that she's had. And we've been working with another vet, keeping Arizona viable and happy. But it was coming down to steroids to be able to breathe. But she was doing really, really good. In fact, the last 6 weeks of her life were the best she's had in many years. We got our old mare back, but we came out and she was cast and she was colicked, and just somewhere from sunset to sunrise, she had been really suffering. And so we had the vet out because it was to the point where we really needed to know what was going on, and the vet came out and checked her, and she already had necrotic tissue in her gut. And so when you got blood in the gut, things aren't good. She was shutting down. So you pick your time with a large animal. She wasn't going to make it. Wouldn't matter what we were going to do. So you end her suffering. And I've had to put a lot of our horses down and just bury them with a backhoe. And man, I'm tired of doing that. But you know what happens with an old horse if their system's really shutting down, and you try to put the horse down with phenobarbital, something like that, then if their circulation system isn't good, they can really fight it. And they'll thrash around on the ground dying for 45 minutes. And that's horrible. So it's better to shoot them. Or if their circulatory system's good, their cardiovascular system is functioning, then they just find a vein and put in a catheter, and then when you just dump the the junk in there, they're down in 2 seconds and it's lights out. And the horse doesn't feel a thing. And that's so much better than suffering. Because, you know, if you really like your animals like we do, you connect to them, and it's a relational thing. And dogs typically don't last as long as Arab horses do. And so when you have a horse like our stud that we had for so many years, when a horse has been in your life 29 years, they're a friend, and you don't want to see them suffer. So you do everything you can to save their life, but then when it looks like it's not going to happen, and you do what you have to do to end their suffering. So I've been healing up for about a month, where I thought I could talk about it without crying. And so we lost Blue. We had him, gosh, so many years. And we lost Arizona. We had her for 19 years. And a few years ago we lost Casey, and that was almost 29 years. And it's, you know, you tell yourself, my next horse or my next dog's going to be just a dog. After this one, that they're just animals. But, you know, they get in your heart, and it's not that way at all. And you build a relationship with them, and they're dependent on you. And it's hard when they go. So you say, I'm done. I'm not going to get another one. And then someone like Gibbs will come into your life, and you just, how could you not just fall in love with Gibbs? I mean, he's awesome, and he's working really, really hard at replacing Blue. Not that I'm putting that on him. It's just in the history of dogs, Gibbs is on a fast track to being the best dog in the history of life. And I needed that, because I never thought anything could compare to Blue. And when Bessie was gone, we thought we'd never top that. And when you have animals that you can control with hand signals, then you go, well, how do you ever beat that? And then God will send you another one. And so Gibbs has got one eye, but he's got a bug. Come here. Sit. Let's look right here. I don't see it. Wait. And he just holds real still when I'm checking him. You're good. Probably a stick. Probably a stick. Well, I guess I've talked long enough. It's time to either go in the house or move some equipment around and get that fur off the fence over there. Clean it up a little bit where it's not so... I don't want it to look like it's not a viable barn and turnout. Because if I do that, then it'll be disheartening. I don't want to give a message like, no, we're not getting another horse anyway, so what does it matter? I don't want to do that. I want this place pristine and ready to go, just in case Carol decides that she needs another horse. All right, folks. Have a very blessed day.